Have you ever walked away from someone and felt completely drained? As if they had taken something from you that you couldn't explain? You weren't running a marathon, you weren't lifting weights, but suddenly your energy was gone, your mood was heavy, and your heart felt small. That strange emptiness is not an accident. It's not weakness. It's a signal that you may be dealing with people who are not lifting you higher, but quietly pulling you down. And here's the truth. Life is too short to spend it surrounded by the wrong people. If you stay with me until the end of this message, you'll discover how to recognize those hidden signs clearly and how to protect your own strength, your own peace, and your own worth. That's the reward waiting for you. Freedom from invisible chains that you didn't even know were holding you back. Think about it. Why do some people leave you feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world, while others leave you questioning yourself, doubting your value, or feeling guilty for things you shouldn't even be guilty for? The difference lies in their nature. Some people are healers. They make your spirit lighter. Others are takers. They feed on your energy and leave you broken. And most times, you don't realize it until it's too late, until the damage is already done. That's why understanding the clear signs of toxic, selfish, and egoistic people isn't just knowledge, it's survival. It's a shield for your heart and mind. Toxic people rarely come into your life announcing their intentions. They don't say, "I'm here to hurt you, to drain you, to control you." No, they disguise themselves, they appear charming, sometimes even supportive, and they pretend to care. But deep down, every action they take, every word they speak has one goal: to feed their ego, to satisfy their selfish needs, and to keep you beneath them. That's why so many people find themselves trapped, unable to see the reality, because the mask looks so convincing. And here's where human psychology comes in. Our minds are wired to seek connection, to trust, to believe that when someone smiles at us, it's real. When someone says they care, it's genuine. We want to believe in the goodness of others. That's why we give second chances, third chances, and sometimes even endless chances. But what happens when this natural desire for connection is used against us? What happens when your kindness becomes a weapon in the hands of someone selfish and egoistic? You begin to suffer in silence. You start questioning your own sanity. You start believing that maybe the problem is you. But let me tell you this clearly. It's not you. If you feel constantly drained, unheard, or disrespected, then the problem is not within you, it's around you. The people who carry toxic behaviors will always try to make you doubt yourself, because the more you question your worth, the easier it is for them to control you. This is why learning to see the signs is so powerful. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. Once you see clearly, you can no longer be fooled. So stay with me. Don't miss a single word, because by the end of this journey, you will not only know how to identify these people, but you'll also know how to rise above them. You'll know how to protect your energy, your peace, and your dignity. That is the reward you will walk away with. The power to recognize, to step back, and to live your life free from the chains of toxic, selfish, and egoistic people. When you look closer, you'll notice that toxic people don't just accidentally drain you. They have patterns, invisible strategies they use over and over again. They know exactly how to twist your emotions, how to make you feel guilty for things you didn't even do, and how to make you doubt yourself until you surrender to their control. This is how they operate. They survive on manipulation, they thrive on keeping others beneath them, and they hide their selfishness under the mask of false care. You may have felt this before, when someone praises you with one hand but criticizes you with the other, when they offer comfort only to later use your weakness against you. That's not love. That's not friendship. That's poison disguised as kindness. Psychology teaches us that manipulators often know how to press the exact buttons that control our emotions. They sense your empathy, your desire to please, your longing to be understood. And instead of valuing those qualities, they exploit them. They turn your compassion into their weapon. They say things like, "After all I've done for you," or "If you really cared, you would." Those phrases are not born out of love. They are tools of control. And the worst part is, they make you feel like the selfish one, when in reality, they are feeding their ego while taking your peace. It's important to see how they wear their masks. A toxic person can often appear charming to outsiders. They can look like the most supportive friend, the most loving partner, or the most reliable colleague. But behind closed doors, they reveal their true colors. Their words cut deep, their criticism is constant, and their need to dominate never stops. This contrast leaves you confused. You start asking yourself, am I imagining this? Maybe I'm overreacting. But no, you're not. Confusion is part of their design. They want you uncertain because a confused mind is easier to control. Think about how many times you silenced yourself just to keep peace with such people. How many times you wanted to express your truth, but you held back because you knew they would twist your words and turn the blame back on you. That silence is not peace, it's fear. And fear is what toxic, selfish, and egoistic people want you to live in. Because as long as you fear losing them, they know they can keep controlling you. But here's the turning point. Once you recognize this pattern, once you see that the guilt, the manipulation, and the false charm are part of a system, you begin to take back your power. Because when your mind understands the game, your heart can stop playing it. You no longer confuse manipulation with love or control with care. You see it for what it is, a desperate attempt by someone empty to steal from someone full. And here's the truth you must hold on to. Real love, real friendship, and real connection do not drain you. They do not leave you feeling small, guilty, or broken. Real connections give, they don't just take. They lift, they don't just pull. So if you feel constantly exhausted by someone's presence, if you feel like no matter what you give it's never enough, that's not connection. It's control, and it's time to see it clearly. The most powerful signs of toxic, selfish, and egoistic people are not always in what they do, but in how they make you feel. You may not catch their manipulation right away, but your emotions will always reveal the truth. Pay attention to the heaviness in your chest, the doubt in your mind, and the silence in your heart. These are the alarms your soul rings when you're surrounded by the wrong kind of energy. If you constantly feel small, invisible, or unheard around someone, that's not coincidence. That's a reflection of how they truly see you. They don't see you as an equal, they see you as a tool. Think about the times you've shared your victories with such people. Did they celebrate you with genuine joy? Or did they quickly change the subject back to themselves? Did they make your success feel lighter? Or did they throw in a comment that made you question if your achievement was even worth celebrating? Toxic and ego-driven people have a difficult time celebrating others because in their world, only their success matters. To them, your growth feels like their loss. That's why they diminish it, why they make jokes about it, why they act uninterested. They can't stand the idea of anyone shining brighter than them. Another emotional sign is the way they make you question your worth. When you speak, they interrupt. When you express your feelings, they dismiss them. When you share your pain, they make it about themselves. Over time, you start feeling invisible. You start holding back your voice because you know it will not be valued. This is not because your feelings don't matter. It's because their ego does not allow them to see beyond themselves. They're too busy feeding their pride to notice the damage they leave behind. Psychology shows us that when people feel unseen and unheard, they begin to internalize that rejection. They start believing that maybe they really are less important. Maybe they don't deserve attention. Maybe their thoughts aren't valuable. This is the silent wound toxic people leave behind. Shout. They don't need to openly insult you. Their constant dismissal, their lack of genuine interest, and their need to always make everything about themselves slowly breaks your spirit. But you must remember this. The way someone treats you is not a reflection of your worth. It's a reflection of theirs. Crooked up theirs. If they make you feel small, it's because their heart is small. If they make you feel unworthy, it's because they can't see worth outside of themselves. Never confuse their blindness with your value. You are not invisible. You are simply surrounded by people who refuse to see. The last emotional sign to notice is how you feel when you leave their presence. Do you walk away lighter or do you walk away heavier? Real relationships leave you inspired, more confident, more alive. Toxic ones leave you anxious, doubtful, and drained. That contrast is your compass. Trust it. If every interaction with someone leaves you emptier, then it's not you who needs to change. It's them who reveals their true nature. Once you accept these truths, you start reclaiming your strength. you start reclaiming your strength. You stop waiting for validation from those who cannot give it. You stop seeking love from those who only love themselves. And slowly you begin to understand that the emptiness they leave behind is not your weakness. It's proof of their selfishness. When emotions already reveal the damage toxic people cause, their behaviors make the picture even clearer. These individuals often leave behind patterns that repeat again and again, and once you notice them, you can no longer deny the truth. One of the most obvious signs is betrayal. They may break promises without hesitation, share your secrets to gain attention, or turn their back on you when you need them most. Loyalty means nothing to them because their actions are always calculated to serve their own ego first. And each time you forgive, they only see it as a free pass to do it again. Another clear behavior is their obsession with winning. Every disagreement turns into a battle they must conquer. They don't listen to understand, they listen to attack. They twist your words, exaggerate your mistakes, and minimize their own faults just to come out on top. Their pride matters more to them than peace, and their ego would rather destroy a relationship than admit a single wrong. This relentless need to dominate is not strength. It's insecurity dressed as confidence. The stronger they appear, the weaker they truly are inside. Notice also how they treat apologies. For them, saying "I'm sorry" feels like surrender, and surrender is something their ego cannot handle. Instead of taking responsibility, they shift the blame back on you. They say things like, "If you hadn't done this, I wouldn't have reacted that way." Their apologies come wrapped in excuses and accusations, making you question whether you're the one at fault. This is not an apology, it's manipulation disguised as humility. Selfishness is another behavior that reveals itself quickly. These people think in terms of what they can take, not what they can give. They only show up when it benefits them. They demand your time, your energy, and your presence, but when you need theirs, suddenly they are busy, unavailable, or uninterested. And yet, they expect gratitude for the little they do. Their selfishness blinds them so completely that they don't even notice the pain they cause. Or worse, they notice it and simply don't care. There is also the silent weapon they use, neglect. They may ignore your efforts, dismiss your ideas, or treat your dreams as unimportant. They do this because the less they acknowledge you, the more they keep control. By starving you of appreciation, they push you into seeking validation from them, which gives them even more power. It's a cycle carefully designed to keep you dependent, hoping that one day they will finally value you. But that day never comes, because valuing others is something their ego cannot afford. Psychology explains that consistent patterns of betrayal, blame shifting, and selfishness are hallmarks of deeply egoistic personalities. These behaviors are not accidents. They are strategies to maintain control. Once you begin to see these behaviors clearly, you stop confusing them with normal flaws. Everyone makes mistakes, but toxic people repeat them without remorse. Everyone argues, but toxic people argue only to win. Iowa. Everyone has selfish moments, but toxic people live in selfishness as their permanent state of being. You must remind yourself of this truth. People's behaviors are louder than their words. Words can be sweet, promises can be endless, but behaviors will always reveal who someone truly is. And when you see betrayal, arrogance, and selfishness repeated over and over, believe the pattern, not the excuse. Once you see the repeated behaviors of betrayal, arrogance, and selfishness, the next step is to turn inward and recognize the signals within yourself. Your inner voice is powerful, and it has been warning you all along. That uneasy feeling in your stomach, that heaviness in your chest, that quiet voice saying something isn't right. Those are not weaknesses, they are your body's alarms. Human psychology proves that emotions are the mind's way of signaling danger when logic hasn't caught up yet. Ignoring those signals only traps you deeper, while listening to them can set you free. Self-awareness begins when you give yourself permission to trust what you feel. Too often, people silence their intuition because toxic individuals convince them they are overreacting. You may have heard phrases like, "You're too sensitive," or "You always misunderstand me." These are tactics designed to make you doubt your own perception. But the truth is, your perception is your shield. If you feel drained, it's because your energy is being stolen. If you feel unheard, it's because your voice is being ignored. If you feel small, it's because someone is working to keep you there. Trust those feelings because they are not lies. They are warnings. Another step in awareness is understanding the difference between peace and silence. Toxic people may tell you that avoiding conflict means you're keeping the peace. But deep down, you know it isn't peace at all, it's surrender. Real peace feels calm and secure, not heavy and suffocating. If you must constantly silence your thoughts, hide your feelings, or sacrifice your needs just to keep someone happy, then you are not in peace. You are in chains. Self-awareness allows you to break those chains by calling the situation what it really is. Boundaries are the natural extension of self-awareness. Once you recognize how toxic people affect you, you must decide how much access they should have to your life. Boundaries are not about punishing others. They are about protecting yourself. They are a declaration that your energy, your peace, and your dignity are not up for negotiation. And here's the truth. Toxic, selfish, and egoistic people will always resist your boundaries. They will call you cold, distant, or ungrateful. But their resistance is proof that the boundary is needed. Healthy people respect limits. Only manipulators fight against them. Think about it this way. Every time you say yes to someone who drains you, you are saying no to your own well-being. Every time you allow someone to disrespect you, you are teaching them that it is acceptable. Self-awareness means reversing that pattern. It means saying yes to your peace, yes to your worth, and yes to your future. It means standing tall and declaring that your inner voice will no longer be silenced by someone else's ego. Psychology shows that once a person begins practicing boundaries, their confidence grows, their stress decreases, and their relationships become healthier. That's because boundaries are acts of self-respect. And the more you respect yourself, the less tolerance you have for disrespect from others. This shift is not easy. It requires courage, but it is the moment you stop being controlled and start taking control. Remember this, your inner voice is not your enemy, it is your guide. The uneasiness you feel is not weakness, it is wisdom. And the boundaries you set are not walls to keep love out. They are doors to let only the right kind of love. Self-awareness is not about becoming hard, it's about becoming free. When you finally recognize the signs, when you allow your inner voice to guide you, and when you build the courage to set boundaries, something powerful begins to happen. You take back your life. You stop existing in the shadows of toxic, selfish, and egoistic people, and you start walking in the light of your own worth. This is not just about avoiding pain, it's about reclaiming freedom. Freedom to think clearly, to breathe deeply, and to live without the constant weight of someone else's control. The moment you decide to walk away with dignity, you declare to yourself that your peace matters more than fake relationships. You no longer chase people who don't value you because you finally understand that love and respect are not things you beg for, they are things you deserve. And when someone refuses to give them, the most powerful response is not anger, not revenge, but distance. Distance that protects your heart. Distance that gives you space to grow. Distance that reminds you that not everyone deserves a seat at your table. It's not easy, because toxic people often fight hardest when they realize they're losing control. They may guilt trip you, they may play the victim, they may even try to paint you as the selfish one. But remember this truth. Walking away from poison is not selfish, it's survival. Protecting your peace is not weakness, it's strength. Choosing yourself does not mean you don't care for others. It means you refuse to destroy yourself for the sake of someone else's ego. Psychology teaches us that human beings flourish in environments of respect, love, and trust. When you remove yourself from toxic circles, you create the space for real connections to enter. People who uplift you, people who celebrate your wins, people who hear your voice and honor your heart. And when those connections come, you realize just how heavy the old ones were. You realize how long you've been carrying burdens that were never yours to carry, and with every step forward, you begin to feel lighter, freer, and stronger. The final empowerment comes when you understand that you don't need to fight toxic people, you only need to outgrow them. Their world is small, built on ego and selfishness, but your world is vast, built on peace and growth. The more you rise, the smaller they become in your life. And soon, you'll look back and wonder why you ever allowed them so much power over you. That's the beauty of healing. What once felt impossible becomes your greatest victory. So hold this close to your heart. You are not defined by how others treat you. You are defined by how you choose to rise above it. Protect your energy like treasure because it is. Guard your peace like your life depends on it. Because it does. And never forget that your dignity is worth more than any relationship that demands you sacrifice yourself. Rise above the toxic, walk away from the selfish, release the egoistic, and step into a life where your soul breathes freely. Because in the end, the strongest person is not the one who fights hardest to keep others, but the one who has the courage to let go and still shine brighter than ever before.